และก็ไม่คิดว่าตัวเองจัดอยู่ในประเภทไหนด้วย
I don't think I belong to any category. I'm not fully a woman or fully a man. I'm just a normal human being, facing the daily struggle of life.
หนึ่งที่ตัวเองต้องปฏิบัติอยู่
ก็ไม่ได้คิดอะค่ะว่า
I never think about which sex I am. Why do people need these labels? Homo, hetero, katoi. If being attracted to men makes me a woman, then in that sense I am a woman. But that doesn't tell you who I really am.
มีแค่เป็นหญิงกับเพศชายความรู้สึกในความคิดหนูว่าไม่แตก
Call us whatever you want, but know that in our emotions and feelings, we're no different from anyone else.
Western plastic surgery and hormone treatments now offer the means of instant self-transformation to a people who already believe in three original sexes, in the transience of all things, and in rebirth.
And all that jazz.
ก็มีจมูก
I've had everything done, and the full operation.
เริ่มจากบนลงล่างนะคะ
From top to toe.
พัฒนาจากจมูก
I've had my nose remodeled, my jawline softened, my teeth straightened, chin and Adam's apple both reduced, breast implants, and the complete sex change.
ในทัศนคติของตัวหนูคิดว่ามีเอฟเฟกต์
I've kept my penis. It's an important part of who I am, and I'm scared that the surgery may have side effects.
ค่อนข้างกลัว
I've had nothing done. No hormones, no surgery. I believe the qualities of a woman or a man can only come from within.
ว่าเราต้องสวยเป็นผู้หญิงนะ
ซิลิโคนนะคะมีหน้าผาก
I've had silicone injections in the forehead, the cheeks, the chin, the nose.
จะเป็น
But she's kept her male parts.
เรา
Why?
เกิดมาเป็นอย่างนี้
I was born male, and it's written, as ye were born, so shall ye die.
Kiss me once, kiss me twice, kiss me once again.
The one thing the Calypso girls do have in common is their attraction to men. All of them spoke frankly of their relationships with male partners who regard themselves as thoroughgoing heterosexuals.
My boyfriend and I have been together for 10 years now.
10 ปีก็อยู่ด้วยกันก็
We're just like any other couple, any husband and wife.
ภรรยาก็คือแบบว่ามีแต่ในความรู้สึกก็คือเหมือนเรา
I've been in love many times, but men always let me down.
ตั้งความหวังกับเขาคาดหวังเขามากเกินไปบางทีแล้วเหมือนมันไม่
Maybe I'm better off on my own.
จะได้ไม่ถึง50เนี่ย
Suriname, a small South American country with a vicious history. The Creole people here are the descendants of African slaves who suffered under one of the cruelest regimes ever imposed on a subject people. The Dutch plantation owners literally worked their slaves to death, continually replenishing stocks with fresh blood from Africa. Punishments were grotesque. Slaves had no rights to their own children and were forbidden to learn to read or write. Under these conditions, one of the few things that enabled them to survive was their African culture. The Creole people believe that we are all visited by spirits sent by God to help us through life's trials. Sexuality is shaped by the spirits. When a woman is possessed by a strong male spirit, she will desire other women, and a man will desire other men when visited by a female spirit. The result is a society where sexuality is fluid and carries no stigma. It's the quality of the relationship that counts. If sexual diversity is natural, how can it be threatening? Why does it incite such hatred? In 1996, psychologists from the University of Georgia devised an experiment to test something that had long been suspected but never confirmed. From the pool of undergraduates, they selected 64 young men who all identified as heterosexuals, who had never experienced a homosexual thought or fantasy, let alone a sexual act. One by one, they were invited to take part in a laboratory experiment. What they didn't know was that they had already been divided into two groups on the basis of answers to a questionnaire. The homophobes and those who were laxed about other people's sexuality. The lab had been set up for a screening of homoerotic videos, and on arrival, the volunteers were introduced to a little gadget which would measure sexual arousal.
We use penile plethysmography, and I have an example of the strain gauge here. This loop goes around the penis, and as the penis becomes engorged with blood and it becomes erect, it stretches, and we're able to detect those differences in length of the circumference of the gauge. Okay, what I need for you to do is pay attention to the video that we're going to present to you. Then after it's over, I'm going to ask you two questions. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much did that turn you on? And then on a scale of 0 to 10, how much of an erection did you get to that video? Do you have any questions? Okay, we're ready to begin. A significant proportion of the homophobic men demonstrated what we call significant levels of arousal, more than 12 millimeters of mercury increase on the strain gauge to the male homosexual video. The non-homophobic group, the overwhelming majority of these individuals had no sexual arousal to the male homosexual video.
Here was confirmation. Those who are outraged by sexual deviation are often fighting something within themselves. In this particular experiment, the extent of the denial was further underlined by answers given to the question, "How much did that video turn you on?" Although all participants were sitting there with their pants down and the evidence before their eyes, almost to a man, the homophobes reported no reaction whatsoever to the video. Four young men in search of a hiding place in forests of the high Sierras. In the back of their truck, the body of a teenager. According to later court testimony, two of the young men in the forest that night had had sexual relations with their victim. All hell had broken loose at a party when someone blurted out that their girl, the girl everyone knew as Gwen, was transsexual. In their eyes, a boy faking it as a girl. With one of her former lovers screaming out, "I can't be gay, I can't be gay," Gwen was kneed, punched, beaten over the head with an iron skillet, and finally strangled with a rope. They dumped Gwen's body in a shallow grave and crushed it down with rocks.
Her face was caved in. You couldn't even tell that this was my child anymore. The bruises, it's horrible, horrible. I mean, you could tell that she had been beaten. During her transitioning, this was my biggest fear. That she would be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and someone would discover that she wasn't a she and would have male anatomy and kill her. Hate kills, and it killed my daughter.
Denial and self-deception were themes of the trial of Gwen's killers. Two of her assailants had had sexual relations with her in the weeks before the murder. She had had no transitional surgery and was anatomically male. Only when that became known to the wider group did the young men resort to violence. I can't be gay. I can't be gay.
What is it that induces extreme violence to the point of killing someone, against people who are transgender or who are gay? The source of that violence, not always, but very often, comes from adolescent males, and often ones who are the least secure about their own sexuality.
People who are comfortable with their own sexuality are not threatened by people of a distinct orientation or distinct practices. Why should you be threatened?
Are there no moral lines at all?
I think there are. Don't hurt other people.
Forbidding these different points of view or these different existences in the world doesn't control them either. It just drives them underground.
Can't we respect diversity? Because it exists all over the place. We have to respect it because it's nature.
I guess we should do more of our formal welcome. You all have a program, and I'm hoping on every table you also have a printout of all the people who have lost their lives since last November 20th.
Welcome, everybody. This is the 12th International Day of Remembrance. Tonight, Oakland joins more than 200 TDOR events around the world in 19 countries and 39 states.
To mourn, honor, and memorialize the lives of our brothers and sisters who might otherwise be forgotten.
Perhaps the most important way of honoring their lives is for each one of us individually in this room to live the most authentic life possible, honoring their lives and their spirits, to live the lives that they perhaps dreamed of, but never got a chance to live.
Our Father, who's art in heaven.
Rome, Italy, Brenda, burned to death.
Istanbul, Turkey, Batu, throat cut.
Josua Arredondo Garcia, beaten to death.
We aren't just killed, we're killed in the most brutal ways.
Horrid things happen to us. We don't make it up.
You don't have to cut my head off. Do you really have to stab me 17,000 times to make sure I'm dead?
Knives, guns, bottles, and they just do it because they figure that they can get away with it because no one cares about us.
2 unidentified transgender people were found tortured and burned.
Mikey Vallejo Sieber, a 3-year-old baby boy from Riverside, California. Mikey was routinely called a sissy by his father. He was brutally killed by his father, punched, kicked, and dropped on his head.
Fernando Vasquez Roque, tortured and beaten to death.
And when these things happen, no one intervenes. It's just okay to treat trans people as disposable.
No one really knows how I died because the police didn't disclose it. But it happened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on October 11, 2010.
Another young person got shot, and she was trans, so big deal.
We're here because these lives matter. We're here because our lives matter. Thank you.